Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a Wild Hunt Wednesday. I have another video I shot. It just did not perform all that well, so we're going to take this to a new level. I know Regis got that initiative rework. He still rocks 13 provisions, but he is a vampire. And I've always wanted to make a vampire deck. I had some extra scraps, so here we are. We're calling this deck Ode to Regis. Overwhelming Hunger is really impressive and it's working really well right now, but we have some good removal here with Predatory Dive, Natural Selections, Spores for Reset, and otherwise just a ton of bleeds. But we're going to use all this stuff to set up some nasty kills. I do really like Feast of Blood. This is really not as appreciated as I think it should be. Just a great card. For the Purify and damage alone, but then when you have that Vampire, you do get the extra 3 damage. Get to be a little freaked out here by the Garkian. That's just for free. But anyway, basically we're just going to be using bleeds to really force the opponent into a position where they can't heal, defend, etc., etc. Not a lot of people are playing around this archetype anymore because it doesn't get used. So wondering if we can get some value. Let's find out. Come with me on a journey. We're gonna see if this deck gets a win. I can like get as many wins as I want offline, but whenever I go up for streaming, it just doesn't work out for me. I was at like 4 out of 5 yesterday when I logged off last night. So we are, as they say, where we are. Where you are, that is where you are. Welcome to those of you joining on Twitch. I'm just shooting a video here because you know that's how I like to do it. Only have so much time in a day. Ooh, Loki Laufison. Isn't that Ghost Arya's name? I don't know. We'll find out. Bruxa is pretty nice here, just for the thrives. Natural Selection is good. We are on blue coin though, so I'm gonna put Predatory Dive back. We probably don't need 2 natural selections. I do like the Ikran play. Don't need 2 Feasts of Blood. 1 is probably sufficient. Here, Ikran's just kind of good value. I do like it better with Karen, which we do have, just so you can consume it in case it gets close to dying. But we are rocking Osril in this deck, so we do have some options. It is, as they say, what it is. We'll find out. Frost could be a little annoying in some respects. Gale is nice if we can set up the kill. So Gale works really well because you can boost self by base power if it's a death blow. Otherwise it's just bleeding. Sorry, it deals damage enemy by 1. If it's bleeding, deal 3 damage. And then if it's a death blow, then you boost yourself by its base power. So hard to kind of get it set up just right. It is a bit of a tricky card. Here we're going to go Bruxa. Just to keep the bleed on one of these. Set up the Thrive. And then we can use Natural Selection to remove the other one. It is a bit of a mean play, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Here, 8 points though. I am tempted to go Natural Selection on the Ikran. That would get us 4. We would need another 4 points. We can't quite get that with Feast of Blood. So I guess we're just going to have to let that go. So we use Natural Selection here. And keep on trotting along. Biggest things I think to look out for with this deck, obviously you need to set up Regis, which takes some work. I would prefer to get a Nekarot just to kind of set up those perpetual bleeds. Oriana is probably the best point engine available. A little bit hard to get her to work exactly how you want to get her to work. Here we're just going to go out Goliath. I think we may need to table this Karen into the consume of the Ikran. We'll have to wait and see. But Hyperion Phantom sets up nicely with the 6-point damage. Hyperion Phantom does have a a veil, but you can't. So you can remove the veil with Feast of Blood, set up the 3 damage. So this would set its value at 4 because it does have that 1 armor. And that wouldn't be quite enough for Gale to finish it off. The bleeds would just counteract the boost. So here instead, I think we're gonna go for Detlef and Karen. Just feel like a little bit much, but we're all about much in these parts. We don't want the boost going to Ikarin just because, like I said, it could fall victim to the Superian Phantom and Parasite. The 3-point damage followed up by 6-point damage. And this deck does not use Parasite. Might be something you want to work into it. But yeah, White Frost can move Orianna off her lane, and we don't have a great way of moving her back. Great point made by chat. The opponent really able to table up on these thrives a little bit better than we have been able to. Here, because we're crazy, we're just gonna go for it. Obviously, I'd be a bit concerned here about Karate Heatwave coming against a 16, a 15, and a 13. And we could use this last charge on Ikarin, like I said, to protect that 9-point, to protect against that 9 points of damage. But I also don't want to set up a 29-point unit, so we're just going to end turn here. Ikarin is the biggest unit, followed by Goliath. The opponent here opting to use both White Frost perks. Likely to get out the Winter Queen. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. Choices are being made, and I don't think any of them are really all that smart. I mean, they do get the points. Superian Phantom is going up by 1. But here I'm actually pretty happy with what's happened. We could close out this round, though, by just consuming the Ikarin and using the Ozrel, and I think that's actually what we're going to do. Just so we can go in for a long round with Orianna, since Bruiser's down and both charges are done. I know it feels a little bit weird, but I kind of like it. We like crazy around these parts. 2 Feasts of Blood. For those asking in chat. There are 2 Feasts of Blood in this deck, so we could have used one. Just really hard to set up. We don't have enough. We just fall short of enough damage to finish off this Ikarin. I think they might have one more Bruiser, and possibly like Oberon grabs a Bruiser. Obviously, that's a 3 out of 7 chance that happens. But we get last say. Unfortunately, Regis does have to go to melee, which is different from Orianna, so we'll have to decide where we want that, but we could just play Orianna last. Here we're just kind of looking for Orianna. I don't really want to lose our card advantage here, so we're just going to take the pass. This deck does like a longer round. Looks like it is Devotion, so we don't have to worry about Heatwave. The opponent really going to struggle to deal with Cave Troll. So I think we go for Cave Troll a little bit later on with Regis. And then if it gets moved back, we just use Regis right away and then put Orianna down after that. Katakan's nice. Garkian obviously is good passive points. I think if we're looking for anything here, it's probably Regis, the regular Regis. But he would be kind of tricky against the armor on those Andregalarvas, but we did see both Andregalarvas played. So here I think what we're going to do, we don't really need Feast of Blood all that much, but it is 3 points of damage and it does give us bleed. So we're going to go ahead and put Garkian back. Definitely don't need spores. Alright, we get 2 Necrots. Not all that great. But we do get Last Say. I anticipate an Osril play onto this Ichern, which is just massive play for Regis Higher Vampire, by the way. 26 points of value. Because we strip 13 off the opponent and we take 13 ourselves. Choices have been made. I think we just want Oberon dead here. I don't really want to show anything, so we'll just go for Feast of Blood here. We don't control a vampire, so we will need to set up that bleed later, but we're going to drop down to Bruxa next. Just want this Frost to go away. So we could go Bruxa, or we could go Necrot here. Honestly, probably go for Necrots. This is a little bit of an awkward play from the opponent. I think maybe just to get and maintain dominance. But we can basically play down our Regis Higher Vampire with Cave Troll anytime we want. I love how like the card shakes with Necrot. It's pretty awesome. Alright, this makes sense. Necrot is going to die here. Let's go for Cave Troll. Let's just ruin this dominance. Ruining this dominance is going to be good on 2 fronts now. Getting rid of this beast boost. Be very afraid, opponent. Be very, very afraid. There's nothing he can do about it now. It's too late. I mean, it's going to take damage. That's fine. Eridan's probably the best value here for Gale, so we'll want to start setting him up soon. Here, I think we're going to just get down Necrot. Set up that bleed. And then I think we're just going to drain this Osril to prevent the dominance. Plenty of value there. He'll also take the frost damage. Obviously, Beast is going to be a problem, but Beast is going to be a problem whether Osril has that point or Regis has those points, right? So this way, the Cave Troll also gets protected. More flexibility that way. Then we'll drop down these Blood Scent bleeds with Oriana when we're ready for that. Katakan's not going to get any Thrive here. And you could see we actually could have set this up a little bit better. Unsure why the Red Raiders went for this choice. I think I probably would have doubled down on the melees, but everybody gets to make choices. Here I think we do want Bruxa just because it does set up nicely. We're just going to keep row stacking all the same row. And just put out as many bleeds as we can. Wild Hunt Bruiser now becoming a bit of our friend here. Cave Troll will take 2 damage, but not 3 because we have dominance. So I think we are now ready to set up Oriana. And now we are able to give an enemy unit bleeding with the duration of allied vampires. Obviously, there's only 2 more rounds for the opponent left. We have 3 vampires, 4 with Oriana. So pretty happy here. We're just going to go for the Bruiser. And then we're going to target all of these other units. No reason to sit around and wait. We will hold on to this last charge just because we don't get any more bleedings and instead use Necrot here. That gives us the maximum number of bleeding units. Oriana is going to boost herself by the number of units that are bleeding over there, and we can use that value that way. 6 points. Yeah, lots of frost that came from the opponent. I think premature play in round 1. We were just able to out-tempo the opponent there. Imlerith's Wrath here coming down for 12 points. Pretty nasty on the Regis Higher Vampire. But kind of a weird play just because Beast no longer gets that value. Aridin, again, still represents 5 base value for Gale. We are going to use his ability here. And then we do want to get out the rest of our bleeds just because it represents value. And Oriana here getting 4 points of boost. Beast now going to meet up with her, but she is such great value here. And we will get one more bleed onto this. If it's a unit, we'll get one more because Katakan is going to refresh this Necrot. We have dominance, so this trigger is only going to be able to do 2 damage. Opting to remove the Thrive unit. Lots of bleed, lots of boost, all kinds of things going on here. We will place this onto the Striga just so Oriana can go up once again. But lots of fun we were able to have there. Giving me a little bit of anxiety. But we were able to close that out. Crazy tempo with this deck. I think the problem with monsters right now is you're just able to tempo up and tempo down so quickly. Just really, really flexible with Osril, Goliath, Detlef, and we didn't even draw into Regis. This deck really doesn't have... I kind of opted lately for decks that have a lot of internal synergy. But hey, thank you so much for joining, Sherman. We're grateful to have you on the channel. Enjoy. So Spores here can be pretty nice. Predatory Dive just not really helpful when you are on blue coin. Garkian is fine. He works well with Necrot, though he is a little bit weak sometimes. We do need a way to consume Ikarin, so we are going to put Spores back. We're going to put Bruxa back. Alright, not great options, but Ikarin does smack some of these other opposing units in the face. Northern Realms, obviously if it has like charges, that can be problematic, but here I think we're just going to lead off with Necrot, and we're going to go ahead and give him a boost. If the opponent opts to use on Sace right away, all the better, but an 8-point unit is pretty difficult for Northern Realms to remove. Obviously if on Sace were to punch Ikarin would smack back. On Sace would have to hit him again, but it doesn't die until after the end of the duel. So Ikarin actually kills on Sace.
Dark clouds gather over Temeria.
Anticipating an amphibious assault, it is. All the better for us. We'll try to set up bleeds here and then use Gale to finish off this boat. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we do have Gale. We do. Opting for Drummer instead of for Frigate. I find that to be a bit of an interesting choice here. We're just going to start setting up the bleeds. Don't really care how we do it. We're going to get out Ikarin, like I said. Just 8-point unit, really difficult for the opponent to deal with. And we had held over on this order ability, so it wouldn't have mattered if we used a vampire. The cooldown would have just gone down to 1 instead of 2. So not really a great way to deal with that. Because Honest Stringer is out here, I think Regis actually would find some good value. We'll have to keep that in mind as we make our further plays here. Katakan with Goliath ends up being a decent play. I think we might opt for that here. But Garkian is just good general points and wouldn't really be affected by these other plays. Probably should have put the bleed on a stringer there. Wasn't my brightest move, but it is impossible to get her back down to normal. We now kind of let the opponent space this out so that it is possible. Here we will go for Katakan. for two reasons. One, this random damage does have, you know, greater than 0% chance of hitting Icar, and the more units we have on the board, the harder that is to happen. So here we're just going to proc that bleed onto Ana, because they've spaced with the drummer separate. They now have to get another drummer right next to Ana to get her boosted up again, or play Visigoda, any of those types of plays. But we can use Gale to finish her off. Carrick Marine works here as well. Now we can use Queen of the Night for the Purify, and I think that is what we want to use her for normally. But because we still have 2 Feasts of Blood, we can just grab one of those for Donamir. So here I think we do want to try to activate this bleed. And we will get this onto the drummer. Just still letting this this Trident infantry go up in value. Main reason for that being we still can use Regis Higher Vampire for really great effect here. But again, Goliath's still available to us. Opponent opting for Boiling Oil. I think an interesting play here. I don't have to understand it. We could use Cave Troll here to protect Regis Higher Vampire. But I think we'll just use Goliath. This might tempo the opponent out of the round anyway. Honestly, I don't know how much more boost is going to go to a unit. And this resets the bleeds. So actually, let's do this. This resets the bleed on Necrot, so we can get that procced on Ana Stringer again. Also sets him up ready to go. If the opponent opts to pass here, that will be some lost value, but I don't anticipate seeing a bunch of boosts in round 3 with a Sheildwall. It's possible. This is really a poor play. This is just not... like, thank you very much. Very strange. Alright, here we're going to go ahead and pull down Goliath. This is going to proc the Thrive. I think we should shut the opponent out here. Maybe they just don't understand how Regis Higher Vampire works. I just have to anticipate that that's what happened there. The problem with Ana and Gale is Ana has to get all the way down to 3 points, right? Gale... I mean, we could have used Gale to knock Ana down so she didn't boost up Tridem, but it really wasn't... the return on value wasn't all that great, right? I would rather set up Gale in a later round. Alright, here we're looking for Karen, we're looking for Oriana, and we're looking for Regis. We are going to keep Necrot. Predatory Dive actually would work quite nice against Northern Realms, as they often play Donamir right away. So here, I think the unit we're looking to put back is nobody. Necrot probably is the one we could opt to put back most, but we do need the bleeds. But there just are other units we need more than him. And here we're just going to take the pass. We are okay with the long round against Northern Realms. While they can cause us some problems, I think we have a lot of ways to play around it. The Cave Troll is going to just be fodder for one of those duels Northern Realms is so famous for. Adrenaline Rush is great value onto a Cave Troll. In fact, we might use that. Feast of Blood really going to be necessary if Predatory Dive doesn't find the defender. But Bruxa probably the least value, Garkian even less. Alright, well... this is why you include cards in your deck that help you get specific cards. Really got terrible draws here. Missing Regis, missing Karen, missing Oriana. But you can't really risk getting all of those. Here we do need to use Predatory Dive on Adalia, as it is going to spawn a 2-point unit here. So we're just going to go ahead with Predatory Dive. We don't have Oriana, so no reason to really hold on these bleeds. So we're just going to knock down this frigate. After 2 turns, we'll be able to use Gale and finish it off. No more boosting unless he's going to pull like a Carrack Marine. Donamir looking really nice here for our Feast of Blood. Kind of wish they would have played it first, but this works. We don't control a vampire, so we do miss the bleed, but we can't let the opponent just run away with this. Dropping down Visigoda and getting those boosts all around. I think we will see a shield come out here, so we will use Necrot, we'll proc a bleed, and then we'll get to work that way. We do need the frigate down to 2 health, because Gale only does 3 damage to finish off the opponent. But here instead we might go for Feast of Blood onto Visigoda, just to use up more of these shield walls. Can't say I'm depressed about Onsace trading for a Necrot. Kind of a weird play. But he does set up for the refresh. Everybody else goes to ranged here, except for Gale. And Gale really doesn't get all that much value. So I'm going to go ahead with Cave Troll here. We'll proc a bleed on Onsace. We can't do the second one because of the likelihood a unit would spawn. I do want to get Adrenaline Rush on Cave Troll. Premature Viraxis wouldn't be all that terrible. But here he comes. Resetting that duel on Onsace. Opponent just finding really great value in that way. Dumping in all of the value. Okay. Well, here we'll just go Blood Scent onto Visigoda. Then we'll use Adrenaline Rush on this Ekimara, because why not? This game not going as well as the last game did. You do have to be careful with Feast of Blood. It does purify and then proc the bleeds, so just something to be careful of. But here, if Visigoda goes down one more, we'll just go ahead and use Gale to finish him off. Here, the Siege Support opting for the damage. We're just going to drop down Dettliff. Don't really care if he dies. Actually kind of hoping to trade some murder, like to get the opponent to kill Dettliff Higher Vampire here. To try to prevent some Karen value. That would work well for us. We do get Last Say, so Bloody Baron here coming for the reset does hurt on this Ekimara. But it's not as bad as against the Ozrel. That said, we are kind of screwed here, so it is, as they say, what it is. We do get the removal of Visigoda finally. What are you gonna do? Reset's already occurred, so we can just use this Feast of Blood where, however we want to. Obviously, drawing into a Karen or Oriana would have been really helpful this round. We are, as they say, where we are. I think maybe we'll make a change to the deck in the down round. Add in Wild Hunt Riders here instead of Spores. Spores just really not all that helpful, since we have Dettliff Higher Vampire in the deck. Here I think we'll just trade Feast for Blood. Just you take the value. Siege Support works as a decent target for that. Doesn't really matter. We've lost this game almost certainly. I anticipate this is gonna be a Selkirk. Gonna feed the Zeal to the Selkirk. Give Selkirk a shield. Selkirk easily finish off Gale. Opting instead for Detlef. Obviously, nothing else would really wreck the opponent's game, so Detlef makes more sense. We just don't get enough points, and that happens. Really wanted to get Regis working with this deck. Can't quite seem to get it to work. Alright, let's see if we can squeeze in. We'll take out Spores and we'll do Riders. Rider. Oh, Spores is only 4. We need to take out 5s, huh? Adrenaline Rush really wasn't all that great, and Predatory Dive is fine, but not really necessary with the Purify removal, so we'll take that. That works pretty well. The need to link Karen and Detlef has kind of hampered us a little bit, but Detlef still played for value there. Everything is kind of a unit, so I think if you wanted to, we're making videos, so I gotta aim big and show all the cool plays. But if you wanted some consistency, you could probably take out Detlef and Karen and put in you could put in Whispering Hillock to get you some consistency with Goliath. Detlef also has a Death Wish, so you could actually just put in Whispering Hillock, change out your leader ability, something like that. And then for the 10, you could put in Royal Decree. But I think honestly I'm okay with the deck. No deck should have 100% win rate, and if I'm losing because of bad draws, that's more acceptable to me than losing because the deck doesn't have enough oomph. And sadly, monsters just need a lot of oomph, but if they have the oomph, they're gonna get it done. So good times there. But welcome to everyone in Twitch chat. We're going to run this one more game with these small changes. If you have requests for other decks, please let me know. We're all about party time up in here. Just having a chill lunchtime stream on a Monday.
Any last words?
Alright. We do get Oriana early. I still have Spores in the deck. I probably should have swapped them out for another Vampire, to be honest. This is nice. Also pairs well with Karen. Jackpot is such a weird leader ability. Do have Necrot, so Garkin is of nominal value. I'm gonna put back Feast of Blood, put back Natural Selection. Alright, there we go. That's better. We do need to save Karen for Detlef just because it's so much value. Here we're just gonna play down Ikern. 9 points of removal is pretty tough for Syndicate, so we'll see if we can juice out a Karate Heatwave. But welcome everybody joining on Twitch. We're finishing up this last game, just rocking a Vampires deck. There's been so much Swarm, I really wanted to try to get a Regis working. Since we can set him up with the bleeds, I find that to be like a really effective way to get him to work, at least in my mind. But we have to draw into him at some point, right? Alright, here we're going to try to get this Imki down to 3. We'll boost up Necrot here just to keep him going. But if we can get the Imki down to 3, then we can go ahead and use a card that I put back into my deck. So I guess we can't do that. But we can at least get it down. Opponent here opting for Jackpot leader ability straight away. Now paying to flip Necrot over. Choices have been made. I defer to you to decide whether they were good choices or not. Alright, we're going to get down Catacan here. But now, like, all of the stuff I'm worried about has kind of already happened. Yeah, leader not only round 1, but on second card play. That's some commitment. Especially against monsters, where I'm just going to tempo the snot out of it. That was not worth it, says chat. For all of you wondering how to play Syndicate, that was not the way to do it. Although, I will always reserve judgment till after the game has been played. But I tend to lean on the side of my chat here. I don't know what the opponent is thinking. We do miss out on some of those bleeds. Obviously, that's a little bit annoying, but it's really not the end of the world. Azar could cause us some problems, but he's so easily dealt with leader. I'm going to actually go ahead here and use Queen of the Night to put bleed onto Imki, just to get her down to 3 and finish her off with Gale. If we can stop the coin income for my opponent, that works really well. Chat saying maybe he's running Siggy for coins. That's possible, but it's still not a great way to spend. And you really need some like really crazy tall spenders. Street Urchins in later rounds are gonna play right into our hand with our great and good friend Regis Higher Vampire. One of my new favorite cards in the game. I mean, he's not new at all, but he's new to me. Okay, we're just gonna go Goliath here. Proc the Thrive on Catachan, give us some awesome tempo. This way we can just play down Gale next round. Yeah, I think leader is always kind of... Some people consider leader to be worth a card. I think certainly for monsters they are. But the honestly, of all the choices that were made, I think the Philippa was honestly the worst of all the decisions. This Bonded Prophet is nice from these beggars. Able to spend a bunch of money into Street Urchins to try to like edge me out of this round. But Imki has a base of 5, so this is real nice for us. We get up to 9. That also triggers the Thrive on the Catachan. Your leader's gone, and you're going to struggle to find a way out of this round, my good friend. Here we could also drop down Karen if we really felt pinched. If it was like a round 3, we could consume Ikarin and then use it with Ozril. Consuming the Catachan would also get us a 2 Akimara, but we won! So, glad our opponent could dump all of their leader and coins to lose a round. Maybe they're new to Syndicate. Syndicate is probably the most tricky faction to play. Now, I do like these natural selections in an organic swarm deck. Here, they're good, but not phenomenal. I actually like Feast of Blood a little bit more, just because it does give us that bleed. Here, I'm just kind of digging for the cards I want. I actually like Bruxa more than Garkian, just because the Thrive automatically procs. But I'm really not in the mood to try to push or bleed here. I know we got stung against Northern Realms, but Syndicate is a different faction altogether. We do have Ozril, we do have Karen, we do have Detlef, we do have Oriana, we do have Cave Troll. Losing the Ikarin stinks, but we still have Goliath, so really not a great trade there. Still Ozril playing for 11 points, so I'm still pretty happy. I do want to see... I care less about Regis Higher Vampire, and I care more about... Alright, I really didn't want to brick into these. I care more about getting Regis... So I want Regis Higher Vampire more than I want Regis against Syndicate. So let's see how lucky we are. I don't want to break into another Wild Hunt Rider. We don't brick, but we also still miss here. Let's just hope the opponent plays something of low value so we can get these Wild Hunt Riders out early. We just don't have as much synergy. They're nicer to play in an early round. That's okay. We still have a lot of stuff we like. This being, I think the opponent just wanting coins, maybe? I don't know. We're going to go for Bruxa here. We can't play Wild Hunt Riders anyway. But Scarab's really poor defense against Blood Scent. I mean, just we're able to get rid of these in one round, right? So. Adriano the Mink coming down to get a slice of Ductress. Sure, that's a choice you can make. We do control a vampire here. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and threaten this slice of Ductress. She doesn't get any value because we didn't play a unit. It's going to come down to how much boost the opponent has. I think maybe waiting for a Caesar Biltzen. This works, that's fine. This Purify could cause me some problems. So we're just gonna taper this out just a little longer. We'll go for Feast of Blood onto this Adalbertus. That should get rid of him in short order. Don't really mind the Slice of Ductress's engines. He can't purify himself, says chat. That is true. Very, very true. Zavala would cause us some problems, but really not the end of the world. We're going to just go for Bruxa here. Great trade on the Seductress. She obviously gets boosted up by 1. She's eventually going to take that damage value. And we're just going to kind of keep her suppressed this way. Tin Boy would be another option for tributes. This is a poor trade in my opinion. It's really only worth 4 points. Very strange. Everybody gets to make their own poor decisions. I just recommend against them. Here we'll go for Cave Troll. We do need to get out some more vampires, but we're really only getting 1 more in Detlef. You do want to use Blood Scent first. That will proc that extra Ekimara. I do actually want to preserve the value of the Cave Troll here, so we're actually just going to consume it. Proc the Thrives anyway. But that preserves the value. Karen's already going to get nice and bulky. This poison might come down. We do lose that value there. But we'll at least be able to get Wild Hunt Riders out. We do want these Blood Scent bleeds to come out.
I admire the beautiful. What can I say?
Go for Riders since we do have dominance right now. The opponent only has 3 more turns, so we do want these to come down. We're just gonna go for we'll go for whichever 3 units we want. It doesn't really matter. There's no real way to like purify these or get these out of the way. So we got 3 vampires down. We'll get down Detlef next. But Oriana does need to go down for value. So maybe we will opt for her instead. This Fizztech and Morale proving to be really valuable for the opponent. The extra bleed we'd be getting from Oriana is really not meaningful. The consume... Yeah, that was probably a mistake, because now we can't do Detlef, right? Opponent able to erase Oriana with Freak Show. That was a little surprising. Oh, yeah, not quite enough juice. But, you know, we won our first game. Everybody just mandates I make 1 win. This deck is pretty good. Play it better than I played it, and you'll probably get better success. I honestly, this is like my first time playing vampires, so be kind. But I think this is a really fun way to play. I think it actually plays really well. Regis higher vampire here. Obviously, had we set up the bleeds for the appropriate amount of time, could have done some awesome damage on this front row. We just didn't care about that because we didn't have him. Here, the highest value unit is that Goliath. So that's as good as we can get. We do get the Thrive proc, but just not enough. But thank you guys so much for joining. We're going to continue streaming on Twitch, but for those of you joining on YouTube, good luck out there. Good luck on the path. Get out there. Keep on Gwenting.